Greetings to you, Earthlings. I am Princess Dragonmom. I have taken over this planet. Now I own the Earth, and you'll all be my slaves for eternity. The disasters I've witnessed are just a small example of our great power. Either surrender to me, or I'll destroy all humans. I've spoken. It's all the warnings I will give you from here on. You'll be destroyed.
That was amazing. That was Oscar worthy.
Yeah, right? I mean, I think the regular version is also.
You're in the middle of the road, jackass!
Can you tell me where cornbread is? Turkey!
Turkey, so close to Thanksgiving.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. We are Just Another Movie Night. I am Scott.
And I'm Joe.
And we today are in the second annual Turkey Fest of our show, Talking Trash.
Talking Trash. Wait.
Talking Trash.
Indeed.
However,
this movie's not trash.
Well, we'll get to that. I mean, that's
cinematic masterpiece.
It's very debatable. I would assume. Yeah, we're in our second annual Turkey Fest, and that means we are doing movies on our show, movies that we love, right? Yeah. Movies that we adore, that we know are bad, that we can't get enough of. Now, if you're new to the show, Talking Trash is where we ask a couple questions, right? We ask, is this a bad movie? And if not, what is the worst movie ever made? And if you're new here, I'm just going to say, if you've ever seen a movie and you thought to yourself, that looks like crap and I don't want to sit there and watch it, that's what we're here for. That's what we're going to do. We're going to watch those pieces of crap for you.
It's fun, though.
It is fun. And if you've ever thought to yourself, you know, I like listening to people talk about movies, but could there be more screw-ups? Could there be more mispronouncing names and dates and times and plots?
Yes.
Then you're at the right spot. Because we're not professionals in any sense of the word. We just love movies. We watch way too many movies. And we're here to talk about movies as much as humanly possible. So we thank you for joining the show. And today, this movie needs no introduction. But we have to.
I mean, yeah, you have to.
Today we are talking about China's first feature film superhero, Infra-man. A.K.A. Super Infra-man. A.K.A. Infra the Superman? Which
I
is,
like that.
Yeah, 19... What is it?
1975.
75.
Yeah.
At last, science fiction creates the ultimate man, Infra-man. And a motion picture creates the ultimate spectacle. Adventure beyond your wildest imagination with the man beyond bionics. 6 million light years beyond believability. Is he man or machine? Electronic circuits integrated with living cells in the living body of a man. Powered by nuclear energy. Infra-man. You won't believe your eyes. You won't believe your mind. Now, Joseph Brenner brings you the most advanced product of bionic science, towering above them all. Thunderbolt fists. Rocket feet. A motion picture that will stagger your imagination.
This is my pick. Joe went last week. And this week I chose a movie from my childhood. Well, what's funny is Joe also picked a movie from her childhood last week that she said she watched way too much and rented way too many times from the video store.
Yeah, I mean, it was... I single-handedly, owned that tape. I mean, I literally had it out anytime that tape was rented. it would be re-rented and re-rented and re-rented because I would never want to take it back.
Yeah, and you're speaking about dolls,
Yes, dolls.
which is what we did last week. Yeah, this week the same story goes for me. I rented this movie, Infra-man, so much at our local video store that the guy behind the counter told my mother, "Why don't you just buy it? Because at this point, you've rented it so many times that it's actually going to be worn out." Because I think you're the only one renting it this much. Now, I have like a handful of video movies that when I was a kid, I was obsessed with watching over and over. About 5 films. I must have watched them so many times that anybody who came into the room while I was watching them must have just been sick. I don't know if my parents ever talked about not wanting to hear me listen to these movies ever again, but they just knew that I needed to see these movies over and over. I don't even think my mother remembered the name of this movie. I think when she would go there, she was like, "Is it the one with the red guy on the cover?" I said, "Yeah, Mom." Yeah, so this is that movie for me. And I got to tell you, it's one of those films that when you watch it again and again, you're just like in awe of how ridiculous it is and how insane it is because it has everything. And I think the big reason is because this is a Shaw Brothers movie. This is a movie, one of those Chinese movies that whatever was big at the time that China felt like, you know what, that's really popular over there in Japan or America, we got to do our version of it. Mm-hmm. So this completely did Ultraman. Yeah. This is the Shaw Brothers knockoff version of Ultraman. And I got to tell you, I could never get into Ultraman when I was a kid. But also, I don't think it was very accessible. But for some reason, this movie really did it for me. I do not know why this is the movie.
I mean, there's no reason to question it. I mean, you obviously know why this movie was just amazing to you as a kid. I mean, even as adults, this is what my 9th viewing of this movie.
Is it?
And I can tell you, because being married to you, I have like watched this movie a lot, and I feel even though I'm an adult, I feel like this movie is so. It just makes me giddy. It makes me giddy. It's like everything you would ever want. Like the child in me is still there. Yeah. And I still see like just the costumes and just the ridiculousness of this movie. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, I think a big part for me was the monsters.
Of course.
The ridiculous, crazy costumes and the monsters. And something about robots, because we already did on this show another movie that I absolutely loved. Happens to be another robot main character. And that would be Jet Jaguar from Godzilla vs. Megalon. There is something to me in robot fighting people, like robot type characters. Although this guy's not a robot, he's kind of like a bionic man in a way.
He's an enhanced human.
Yeah, and Jet Jaguar is a full robot.
Yeah.
So why these movies connected with me is really, I have no clue.
I mean, you're a little boy growing up and you see these movies with these monsters and stuff in it. And of course, it's going to like blow your mind because back then we didn't think in terms of like, oh my God, his suit's coming undone in the back. Oh my God, this monster is wearing boots.
I never saw any of that when I was a kid. No. I never saw The Wires. I also loved Disney's The Black Hole when I was a kid. And I tried to rewatch that in later life. And you can see the ropes and all the strings and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Kind of ruins it a little bit.
Yeah,
but
it doesn't hit the same.
I still love that movie. I absolutely still love. Same thing with this movie. I don't care. I do not care. It is so silly. It is so much fun. It is. And here's another thing. This is very important, and I think I need to tell people all the time because people hate it. I love dubbing.
Okay. We refuse to watch like any kind of like foreign film without the overdubbing because it's hysterical. Well,
that depends. I mean, like we go to the theater, we like saw Parasite and great movies.
No, if it's a real, you know, it's a good film, you know, then we'll watch it with the subtitles. But I mean, movies like this, like we have to, like with Godzilla and things like that. If it's not overdubbed, it's just not as fun. It's just not.
There's something that adds to the experience of these kinds of movies. There's that really bad American understanding of what they are trying to dub. They have no clue. They don't really get it. So everything's kind of messed up, but it adds to the the effect that just makes me smile throughout. Mm-hmm. The Godzilla films are a great example of that. That's why I'm so mad that I can't find Godzilla.
85.
But I think that it's like known as 1984 in Japan. But in America, they redid it and shot new scenes. With they brought Raymond Burr back
Yeah.
and I love it and I cannot find it. There's something so cheesy and so much fun about that version that I'm mad that I can't see it.
I mean,
again.
I'm sure you can get it in Japan, like, it's nothing, but...
No, I don't think so.
No?
They completely disavowed that version of it. They didn't even release it on the new cut, like as a special feature.
That's so weird.
Yeah, it's a lot of that. It's like really hard to find certain copies of certain movies dubbed, especially from Toho. But the Shaw Brothers don't give a shit because I think they just re-released this version in a box set of this movie
Yeah.
with all their stuff included. The version we have actually has some suspect audio problems. It seems like it was almost copied from television.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a weird transfer that, you know, you have to deal with when you're watching these old movies.
Yeah. You bought me this. You actually hunted this movie down when it was released, and I was like, "Oh, I need to own this version. I need to own this movie. It needs to have the dubbing. It's so important, you know."
Yeah.
It really is. But yeah, I don't know how we just got to talk about this.
Well, first, can I say that, I mean, this movie came out in 1975. It's like, I don't know if, you know, Hong Kong filmmakers and stuff were into Star Trek, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of resemblance in the monsters here with, you know, like
That's interesting.
in the way that they, you know, look and the way that they move and stuff. Like, there's a lot in common. And also, like, everybody, all the costumes in this, I mean, everyone looks like they just stepped out of like a Ziggy Stardust video.
Yeah. Oh my God. So true. It really
Like,
is.
I don't know if this movie is supposed to be taking place in the future, but
Yeah. I was going to ask
trying
you.
to figure that out. Like, I was going to ask you when we were watching the movie, is this taking place in the future?
All right. So that's my first question to you. Normally we play a little game and I ask you questions and I put you on the spot.
Oh,
so I'm
Lord.
going to do one for this one. I'm going to ask you, what year do you think this movie's taking place?
Okay. Well, that's what I'm saying. If I go by the way they look and the dialogue, I'm going to have to say that this movie probably is taking place in the 80s. Or, you know, like the time frame.
Where it was actually filmed.
That's where I think, yeah.
Yeah.
In the 80s. But
The plot.
the plot I'm guessing 2053.
Oh my God,
Because-
you really overshot. Well, it's the 70s, and so you know that they have a really loose expectation of what the future looks like.
Yes, I know it, but I'm just saying, like, the technology that they're implying here
Yeah.
is so ridiculous. Like, we don't have that technology anywhere near close to that technology in 2023, and this guy has like an an endoskeleton.
Yeah, the science here
Like-
is very suspect. I don't even understand what's happening with the science in this movie.
Requires no surgery. He's just laying on a table and it's there.
Well, don't get too far into the
Okay,
plot. We
I'm
have to
sorry.
talk about
It's
the
like-
question in hand. What year is the movie taking place in?
Okay, the movie is clearly taking place. I'm gonna say that since it's being filmed in 19...
What'd you say, 2053, you guessed? So I guess you did guess.
I mean, that was my guess, yeah. It's being filmed in 74, or it's being, you know, released in 74. It does have some 80s aspects, which would kind of make it futuristic. But then there's no way that this technology would be available at that time. So I'm going to say 2053.
I love that. I love that so much. Even better, it's 2015.
Shut up.
It's supposed to be 2015 that this movie is taking place.
Oh, wow.
They-
Okay, we're
they-
far behind in our technology.
They looked into the future and they said, more silver on outfits. We have to get a lot more silver. And if there's a head scientist, his smoking jacket has to be silver as well.
Make sure that you put a really bad wig on him and some terrible facial hair where you can see the spirit gum.
And please, blue motorcycle helmets on everybody. If you're not even driving a motorcycle, get that helmet on, will you?
Oh my
You're going to stand in a hallway, motorcycle helmet.
Yeah. I mean, it was...
You never know when a door is going to open on you. All right, well, this is Talking Trash. On Talking Trash, we do one thing. We trash talk movies. We're going to talk through this movie. We're going to talk about the plot. We're going to talk through and joke around and see what we can say about this movie that hasn't already been said before. I don't know how many people have ever actually seen this movie and done this movie before. I think it needs to be done more often, to be honest with you.
I feel like no one has. And we watch a lot of YouTube stuff, and I have to say, I have not had an experience where I came across any, movie reviewer or YouTuber talking about this movie. And I feel sad about that because I feel like everyone needs to see this movie.
Yeah, I agree.
So so we'll talk about the plot of the movie. We'll talk everything out. So right off the bat and right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate.
So we open with a man, a woman, and a child. Children in a bus.
Yes.
Driving on one of the roads that are you're scared to drive on because you're going to go right over into the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those creepy roads. They automatically stop in the middle of the road because something is in their way.
Well, it's even better than that.
It's not even in their way.
Humanoid dragon looking creature belly flops onto the street. Belly flops into the street, disappears, and creates an earthquake.
Yes.
And do these kids all die?
Okay, no. So, listen. What happens is the ground...
Let me tell you something.
The ground starts shaking and cracks. So the road is just cracked up.
Oh, it's an earthquake. It's a giant earthquake.
Yeah, so they cannot move. So the whole bus is shaking, and the bus driver says, "Get the kids out to the woman." They manage to all escape.
They do. They show them escape?
Yes, the woman and the children all escape, but I'm very unclear, and I was going to ask you about this. What happens to the driver? Because you see him in the bus still shaking about the bus is going to go over the side and crash into the ocean. But they just cut away from it. So does he survive?
I assume that everybody died in the scene.
No. The children got out and the woman. They got out
But
of the
there's
bus.
an earthquake, so the mountain is collapsing.
That could be true, but we see them escape the bus.
We see them kind of run, but we don't know what happens next.
No, we don't know what happens next.
I'm assuming the worst.
But I'm assuming that the bus driver just met his demise there because they just cut away from it.
I'm going to assume the worst because the next shot is what looks like an entire city on fire.
They don't waste any time.
No.
They go right from that scene. It's just complete and utter destruction from minute one. So after this bus scene, the whole I was going to ask you, they must have taken cues from Godzilla. They're all the miniatures on fire.
I think this shot is stolen from some movie.
Do you think so?
Because it's nighttime.
It is
and
nighttime.
The next shot after this is daytime again.
Yes, they have a problem with that.
Well, every movie seems to.
There's so much destruction happening right now. It's so hard to keep your eyes focused on one thing because there's literally people on fire jumping out of burning buildings. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's a fireball man jumping to his death.
Fireball man, he's like a kamikaze.
It does.
Almost just lunges out the window just head first.
There's just screaming over the visual of a city burning.
Yeah, but you can't even see what's really happening.
No, and
crazy.
We're not even really told how this occurred.
No.
We're just cut now to a car driving around with a motorcycle brigade, following it up a hillside, and they get to a science base of some sort that is like a satellite dish. Right? And it's under a giant satellite dish.
It's called Science Central.
Science Central, where this is our main location. Science Central. We are met with a bunch of reporters trying to figure out themselves what is happening.
sir. Could these catastrophes mean the end of the world is coming? I haven't determined.
They get there and they open up the back door, and this is obviously the head scientist, the big wig.
Dr. Chang.
I say big wig because he's wearing a big wig.
Oh my god. I just don't understand why they did this to this actor.
They
Why
wanted
did
this guy to seem much older, which is really funny.
It doesn't make any sense, but the facial hair, the patchy patchwork going on there, it was just comical. Like, you could tell he looked like a caricature.
It adds to the charm, though, doesn't it?
No.
You don't think so? Oh, wow, I do.
He looks like a goof.
Oh, I love it. Everything about this guy makes me laugh.
There's another report. It says Mount Devil has erupted. 10,000 people dead.
Oh? It's weird.
I mean, he's your stock scientist guy.
He is your stock, yes. And he feels like he's been in every one of these films.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's been recycled.
Yes. He gets out of the car and the reporter's asking him the best questions ever. Is this the end of the world? Are we all going to die?
Okay. Well, how would you think that he would know any of the answers to those questions?
He basically says, like, I don't know either, man.
He's just
like,
a scientist.
I don't know. Yeah.
Like, why don't you call the prime minister or something? I don't know.
I just got here. I just got to Science Central. Let me science the hell out of this thing. So they go inside, and we get to see an inside visual now of this Science Central. It's like Epcot's. Remember Epcot when they had the vision of the future inside the big ball?
Yes.
That's this room. It is great. There is a screen playing Tetris. A giant visual of Tetris on the ceiling.
This room is amazing. It's like, okay, so they use disco balls.
It's not even disco balls. They're like popcorn looking balls that light up. They're like bumpy.
I feel like there's going to, like, Tony Manero is just going to come right out of his freaking Saturday Night Fever and just lay it out with the dance moves. It just looks ridiculous. This is supposed to be Science Central.
Science Central.
And it's
the Science Lab.
The Science Lab. And all of the guys that work in this lab are wearing the same exact uniform. But it literally looks as though, I'm not kidding, David Bowie himself came out and just clones of David Bowie with the same outfit. The shiny silver boots. This does not scream Science Central, Science Lab, nothing. It seems like they're just gonna have like some kind of acid-fueled disco party.
Yeah.
I was like, what is going on here? Are they the police? I think I asked you. I'm like, are they the police or are they like scientists? What's
that famous group that always fights all the big monsters in all these movies, in Japan and all that?
Yakuza?
No, the Earth Defense.
Oh, Earth Defense.
Earth Defense. I like the Yakuza. The Yakuza are fighting monsters. I'm pretty sure they're the bad guys and everything.
Group in Japan?
I said that fight monsters.
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe
they fight monsters.
Not create monsters.
I'll see myself out.
Yeah, they're like the Earth Defense Force. They're like the last stop on anything crazy happening. At least that's what it seems like here. My favorite thing about this room, first off, they have a desk in the middle of the room that is some kind of giant panel of buttons. It spins around the room to face anything that they need to face. I love that. It takes up the whole middle of the room. Two guys are standing looking at those balls, those light up balls, and one of them just stares and he goes, "This looks bad." Yeah, this is a bad sign. I love that they can tell. We're reading the lights. And that's when our head scientist guy comes in.
Dr. Chang.
He is now also in his science outfit. He is matching with them. They're all wearing the same silver with blue stripes.
Yeah, it's hysterical. I mean, this is just straight out of a 70s, Studio 54 type thing. It's amazing.
And because he's a scientist, he's got a pipe.
Yeah, of course.
Well, he gets in. They show him the balls. He's like, "Oh my god, it is real. This is serious." Now, we have communication coming from this one area, It's Mount, what is it called?
Mount Devil.
Mount Devil. I love that they can tell that there's a problem at Mount Devil to spin the thing around and look at it. There's an entire, I mean, this is the most, honestly, this is the most set up, like, oh, the end of the world shot for them getting the satellite adjusted to look at Mount Devil.
Lieutenant, sir, direct our radar scanner toward Mount Devil. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
They have a countdown. It's like edge of your seat just to move a satellite. Like they count down for it, and
It's gotta be dramatic.
they aim at Mount Devil, which is just like a normal mountain.
Professor, scanner in position and ready to receive. Keep it locked in for continued tracking.
All of a sudden, when they finally get and by the way, the satellite dish, this isn't odd. A satellite dish would pick up communication. This picks up visual.
That's what I'm telling you. It's 2053.
2015. This is some serious shit.
It's 2053 because you can see everything.
Everything.
You can see into the Earth's core.
But the best part is the television is like a little one. It's like a little screen. It's like a tiny little screen and everybody's looking at it.
Well, they can only afford so much.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Emphasize the bigger parts.
Yes. Well, Mount Devil starts shaking and like the dirt comes off to reveal that there was secretly always Castle Grayskull in there, or wherever Skeletor hung out. Like it's
God.
just giant dragon skulls.
Okay, first of all, I'm going to tell you right now that is an awesome set piece.
My thing that gets me is that no geologist ever found this.
Well, no, because who would ever want to go into Mount Devil? I
Well-
mean, it just sounds like you're going to die.
Well, the head scientist says it's been dormant for like 100 years. Why now? And another guy goes, they see the thing happen on screen. Everybody freaks the fuck out when they see this. And this one guy goes, there's radiation coming from that. He's in another room in a new area, and they're looking at a picture on a screen, and he goes, there's radiation coming from this.
Okay, well, I'm so glad you know that.
Yeah.
It seems like everybody has knowledge of what's going on, and they literally never show you what exactly is going on until later.
But that's when we are introduced to the world's best villain character ever.
Greetings to you, Earthlings. I am Princess Dragamon. I have taken over this planet. Now I own the Earth, and you'll be my slaves for all eternity. The disasters you experienced are just small examples of our great power. Either surrender to me or I'll destroy all humans. I've spoken. It's all the warning you're going to get from me. You'll be destroyed.
Yeah, she really is.
Because she flashes on screen in front. They're like, something's happening. And it is Princess Dragon Mom.
This woman's costume, I swear, and I think that, I hate to bring this movie up because it's an abomination, but in Mortal Kombat Annihilation, one of my most hated movies of all time, I feel like Sindel, the character of Sindel and the actress playing her, has somehow modeled her acting after this. Because this character, even though Princess Dragon Mom is far superior to Sindel, I just feel like they're kind of, the same in a lot of ways. But this character, Princess Dragon Mom, she's just, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. The actress playing her is so pretty, but she's wearing this outrageous costume that I myself have said I should be cosplaying. I should have already cosplayed.
I think we've said this for so many years. I've never done it.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to, and you could be Infra-man, and I can be Princess Dragon Mom.
There's so many things from this movie to be. There's so many. There's just so many hilarious things.
I can see you totally plastering up a costume like that green booger guy.
Oh
or,
my god,
you
we
know,
gotta get to that. Yeah, she's definitely Sindel. It is. It's so wild, of course, the thing that's going to be the most recognizable when you look at this movie is to anybody who ever watched Power Rangers. Everything in this movie seems like it was taken. The Power Rangers took from this.
Oh, for
because the main villain is this character.
Yeah.
But this character, like when you were saying what she looks like, it's. And by the way, the dragon that belly flopped onto the street is her.
Yes, so she can shapeshift into a dragon, but just picture the dragon looking like something like a Gorn from Star Trek from 1966. Like
Oh,
the guy in the
yeah.
suit, the bendy, ridiculous rubbery suit that sometimes opens if they move the wrong way.
Yeah, yep,
Like
yep.
that kind of suit. It was so cheesy. It was so freaking cheesy, but I don't know why. Everything about the character of Princess Dragon Mom is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a highlight in this film. It's one of those moments that just starts making me laugh instantly.
Yeah.
It's mostly because the dubbing is intense and going fast every time she's on screen.
Yeah.
And she's doing a voice trying to capture this witch type character.
Yeah.
That the dub actress is just going nuts with it.
It's amazing because she comes off as cute, not menacing. Like just looking at the actress playing her, she's so pretty.
Did you? Yeah, I don't even know if we got this detail of her. She has blonde hair underneath a dragon helmet.
The helmet's amazing. It's like all gold. It's like perfectly sculpted out of papier-mâché.
Everything is so odd. There's gold armor, gold helmet, gold armor on top of a green scaly dress like thing.
Yeah.
And then she is wearing a pink princess
It's like a cape.
cape.
Yeah, it's a pink
A see-through.
chiffon cape with a papier-mâché helmet.
It's amazing.
Her makeup is boss. I mean, she looks so good. She has these boots that are like thigh-high boots. I mean, she just looks banging.
And the best part of the outfit is that she wears, for gloves, one of her hands, she wears a hand puppet. It is a dragon hand puppet where she holds a whip and constantly whips at everything. When she needs something done, she'll whip at it.
It's five kinds of amazing.
It's amazing.
It's just amazing. She appears on the screen so that Dr. Chang and the science centralists can see that she's a villain.
Biker gang.
The biker gang. No, Ziggy Stardust dusters.
They are actually a biker gang. They all have motorcycles. That is the mode. That is the transportation in the future.
So her whole thing is she needs to contact Dr. Chang on the screen and tell him, look, if you do not obey me and become my slave, then all humans will be enslaved. Like, we're going to enslave the human race if you don't do what I tell you.
Yeah, she says that she made the earthquake and she set the city on fire.
Yep, it was all her doing, and her goons, all of her monsters.
She says, yeah, the ice monsters, that I have a horde of monsters under my control.
Yeah, so they all terrorized the city, started the fires,
We didn't see it, but yeah.
Yeah, they didn't show it, but she tells Dr. Chang and his cohorts that, look, motherfucker, you don't come on my side, I'm going to enslave everybody, and lots of people are going to die. So
What I love here is he's basically giving them a demand that you do what I want or I'll kill everybody. But then it's never clear what her demands are.
right, she just wants to rule the earth.
She's just like, everybody stop what you're doing. Wait for my next step or I'm going to kill everybody.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know how she has capabilities to command, every single human being on Earth, but we don't need to know that because she's Princess Dragon Mom and she just is, she's just there. And
Yeah.
so she can just say what her intentions are and everyone's just going to follow her. Basically she wants to enslave the human race. That's what
it.
she wants.
Yeah.
This is the whole movie's plot.
Lieutenant Quan, I need a computer printout on the princess. It's important we learn all we can of her. Our destiny may depend on that. Yes, sir.
And there's just no way that this movie could be more fun from this moment on. This movie is amazingly fun.
Yeah, and what I love is the next shot that the head scientist guy, he has gone to the group of all of the government officials. They all sit around a table like you do in every movie, and they discuss while chain smoking in the smokiest room ever about what's going on. And they're all just kind of like, yeah, this is serious. We need to do something. No shit. And it's not really established what that is, but they call instantly for a character who is out saving the day, who's named Rama.
No, you're thinking of the raid.
I'm sorry. What? Oh my god.
His name is Rima.
Rima. I don't know why I said Rama.
Well, because, Ego. He's always
Good
in
lord.
Our, he's always
What a
in our
mess up.
brain and
Yeah.
our hearts.
They
But-
need to remake this with him.
Oh my god, yeah.
Rima. Now, to establish that he's the best, he is in one of those flaming buildings and he is catching people on fire and he grabs a child before he's burned and jumps out of a building.
Yeah, we know right out of the gate that Rima is pretty badass. Like he's like top notch of the the science centralists.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's under the guidance of Dr. Chang, and obviously we know what's going to happen with him. He's the best of the best. So
Well, he's called, they said, we need you instantly back at the base, that we have a mission. And he and another guy jump on motorcycles and they head back. Right? And when they get there, we're kind of shown that the head scientist is basically telling him, look, I need to talk to you privately in my science lab. And I have something I have to talk to you about. So he brings him back there. And we see that, or we're told that his project, the thing that he's been working on his entire life, is the Infra-man. A being that he would have to take a human and genetically modify him to become this superhero that he's creating that will be able to beat any monster.
we don't know how yet. We just know that he's going to be the one.
Well, this guy, he instantly he goes, I will have to enhance the body. I will have to do these procedures and go under the skin and genetically modify and change the DNA and do all this stuff. And then he goes, yeah, I'll do it.
I mean,
in.
there's no hesitation whatsoever. So
I want to be the hero that saves the day. He actually says that. I want to be
Yeah.
the hero that saves the day.
no hesitation, and I get that. I think that's really noble, and I think it's awesome. However, the doctor injects him with the most sus substance you've ever seen. It's almost like jelly goo,
Yeah, but
and puts him under.
before that, he actually tells him, he goes, oh, you probably die. I'm
He
probably
said
going to
you
kill
won't
you.
you won't survive the procedure.
You might not survive the procedure. You might die because I'm going to make your body a nuclear reactor. He actually says this to this guy, and he goes,
Yes.
I'm willing. I understand
I
the cons of this
understand the,
procedure, and I'm willing.
Yeah, so he's powered by a mini nuclear reactor,
Reactor.
and he's okay with this. But the best thing is that they don't show you any kind of blood or guts or gore or anything of him undergoing what you would think a modified superhuman man would go through.
Everything that happens here is so questionable.
He puts he puts him on a table, and you can see that
Only in a towel over his crotch.
only a towel over his crotch, but you can see flashes of the single most cartoony, robot body parts.
They basically do in-camera flashes of animated robot parts
On
over his body.
over his body, so it looks like they're in his skin.
Yeah.
It is so comical and so cartoony. It's just impossible.
When I
not
was
to
a
laugh
child, I loved this scene. I thought this was the coolest damn
And
thing
that
I'd
makes
ever seen. I was like,
sense.
whoa.
It makes sense because you're a kid and you're like, oh my god, look at those special effects.
It's like Wolverine's adamantium skeleton. I understand.
Yeah,
And
that's-
I still don't. I still don't know what the hell's going on. Just like I don't really understand Wolverine's procedure. But yeah, what I love is that Rima is freaking out. Like he's just like, ugh. And then they're doing all this, and of course they're showing a montage of the parts that are going to put into him. And you're seeing the things under his skin by these flashes, but he's not cutting him. He's not doing anything. But you're right. You were saying before that he injects him with a needle full of goo. And what we had laughed at is that it's clearly got air in it. It's like a giant bubble is inside.
Just gave
and
him
he
a
just
freaking
injects him.
embolism.
Yeah. Just killed him. That's probably why, because this scientist is not very good at his job.
The scientist is the worst. He's supposed to be the best of the best, and he
No gloves, no radiation suits.
But there's no operation.
There's
it's
nothing.
Just like he just injects him with some goo and puts him on a table, and
Even-
you see lights flashing.
Even Victor Frankenstein had a helper. This guy does not even have a helper in this room.
He doesn't. It's amazing. It's like it's just so astounding how there's just a couple of flashing lights, and then you see like the flashes of like the skeleton over his body.
Yes, that's it.
He'll be impervious. No power exists that's able to destroy what I shall create. And he will destroy those monsters, sir.
I want to be the one who saves the Earth, Infra-man.
Rayma, you'll have to go through the sufferings of hell. Yes, and perhaps die. Is your mind made up without a doubt?
Sir, I'm prepared to die to save mankind. I am ready.
During this process, we cut back to Princess Dragon Mom, who now we see has a lineup of the goofiest villains of all time lined up ready to go. And also, I have to point out, she has henchmen that are skeleton men in biker outfits.
Okay, the entrance of her goons is one of my favorite parts of the whole movie.
Come, my creatures. I summon all of you to attend. Be silent, all of you. I've opened the surface of the Earth. It's time to attack. Enough! I've given the Earthlings an ultimatum. Either they agree to become my slaves, or they'll be destroyed.
Because not only do I love the way the cheesiness of the 60s that they were going for. I mean, they're all made out of like foam,
Yes.
latex. It's ridiculous. But
We have to talk about each one of these that we see in the shot.
well, then can we please start with the skeleton men? Because they were my favorite looking of all of the henchmen. They had this black and white like vinyl outfit on, and they looked like
Motorcycle helmets again.
yeah, motorcycle helmets.
Black motorcycle helmets.
But they had their faces were skeletons.
Yes.
And they looked something straight out of like a Scooby-Doo episode. It was just amazing. I love them the best. I don't really think they had a special skill.
No,
Did they?
no, they just die. They're
They're just
stormtroopers.
there. They're
Yeah.
stormtroopers, but they just looked really fun.
Yeah.
Like Spooky Space Kook in Scooby-Doo episode. They looked exactly like the Spooky Space Kook.
I will say that Joel from Mr. Science Theater was heavily influenced by this movie because he said that he made the Kinga character around Princess Dragon Mom and also made the band of the new seasons of Mr. Science Theater called the Skeleton Crew based on the look of these guys.
They were the best. I love them.
Well, they're just funny looking. But
Yeah.
the best are actually the villains in the lineup that we're introduced to. And they're a rowdy bunch because the voiceover actors for these guys are top-notch bananas.
Like, I'm gonna get you, Spider-Man.
One just keeps going like this.
Yes. Like, what was wrong with him? It's like he had diarrhea.
He actually looks like a poop, too.
He does.
Oh, God, I'll do it.
I mean, how do you describe him? How would you describe him? He looks like a booger.
He's a booger with a drill hand and another hand that's a shovel.
And he had a pair of boots on.
And looks like he's wearing army pants with boots.
He had clothes.
And he's the one that just keeps going.
And they had comical eyeballs. And it just, everything was like so
He actually looks like when you get Play-Doh and you mix a couple of the colors together and it makes a shit brown, a shit green color.
Yes.
And it's just like a lump and you made a little turd. That's him.
Yeah, he really does look like a turd. Like you ate too many greens and that's the result.
Yeah, I agree. And for some reason during this movie, I don't even think this is a character's name, but during the movie, a few times, it sounds like Princess Dragon Mom calls him Nemesis.
Oh, it's Infra-man again. I'll rip him apart for this.
Nemesis, we'll be able to destroy Infra-man soon.
I do not really know if that's what's happening there, but she keeps calling him or saying, Nemesis, take care of this. But none of these characters actually get names.
I feel like she's talking to the villains as a whole.
No,
like,
she only says it to this one particular guy.
I didn't catch that.
There's also a green broccoli vine character who's like a plant.
Okay, this is also a Scooby-Doo villain.
This guy, it is wild. He just looks like a bunch of like floppy roots flying around.
Yeah, he really does. And it's just so comical that they thought, and they did, but they thought they can get away with this costume.
Oh, I was sold.
I mean, oh God, I can't. It's clearly ripping. It's a hot mess. I mean, the poor actor inside of that thing must have been dying. But yeah it's
So next up we
terrible.
have what looks like Sweetums from the Muppets lost weight. Because we have a hairball. It looks clearly like maybe a skinny woman in orange tights that is wearing like a hairball on the top of her head, and she has devil horns in there.
Yeah.
And she just keeps going, like, right? And then there is what I call the penis pirate. There is a green, scaly character who's wearing a giant helmet on his head that from the side it looks like a penis head.
Yeah.
And it's got horns coming out of it that match his giant comical pirate mustache. Okay, that guy. And then we have, oh, please don't let me forget any characters here, because we also have two of my favorite matching slinky robot men.
Okay, well, can we just say that they're completely identical?
Yes, they're matched. They're twin scale robot slinky men.
Now, what is the significance of their heeds coming off?
We'll get to that when it happens, but we don't see that for a very long time. I love it. I can't. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. But who am I forgetting?
I don't.
Oh, and then there is an orange Spider-Man who also talks like this.
Let me get down from Princess Dragon Mom, and we'll kill him.
Now I'll destroy all of you!
I think I'm actually doing that really good.
I think it is very good. Yes.
Yeah.
Let us at them. We'll get us. We'll stop him.
It's unreal.
I can't make out if those are words but yeah.
Oh, well, and there's a couple scenes in this where you cannot make out what the villain has just said.
Oh my God. Yeah, I have trouble. And it's overdubbed, for God's sake.
Yeah, it's like so rushed. They're all in there. They're a rowdy bunch, and they're saying to, hey, Princess Dragon Mom,
Let us at them. Let us kill them.
right? And Princess Dragon Mom's like, I said to wait. But yeah, they're not doing what I asked them to do. I don't know what that is because no one's done anything.
She didn't say to do anything.
There's nothing real. She just says, you know what? You two. I want to pick you two. Because the plant guy, he says, I am the best. I can't be beaten. I will kill everyone for you. And she's like, you're right. You two, I like. So she... now, for some reason, they're
like
not...
that voice. It's like Bane went deranged.
They're not in the room with her for some strange reason. They're in another location, and she is instantly able to beam them into the room, which is great because it's a comical noise like this.
It shall not be long. You will attack the instant you get the command from me.
You have given us the power, Princess, the Earthlings never dreamed of. I am invincible. Do not wait, Princess. Let us attack this instant.
Enough. She-Demon, I'm not going to wait. Summon those two mutants.
Yes, Highness.
I'm yours to command, Princess.
Princess, let me be the first to attack the Earthlings.
We see a freeze frame of the characters all in the lineup. They just freeze, and the character is slowly erased and then brought into where she is.
Yeah.
So she brings in
This is why I think they watch Star Trek.
it. Everybody did, right? It's the worst transporter technology I've ever seen.
I mean,
it's so bad. It's more like Mike TV being moved in Willy Wonka or something. Booger Man. Is that what we're calling him?
Yeah, we're calling him Booger Man. He looks like a booger.
GI Booger, and the weird broccoli dude are brought in, and this is one of my favorite bits. She says, "You two are the best. You're the most competent, and you're the two that I trust will take care of this for me."
Here's
So
the thing.
now they're the first two. That means everybody else
they're
sucks.
not that good.
That's what I'm laughing at, because after that you're like, well, if they're the best, and they're the first two to get like later dispatched, obviously the people after aren't gonna have any problem getting killed.
Yeah. That's
So she's like, yeah, you two are my best. You'll take care of this. And she sends them. Now, what's really odd is she sends the Plant Man to attack Science Central.
Yeah, but why? He doesn't even have any special abilities. He's just a giant piece of broccoli.
His ability is pretty amazing.
Well, not really. I mean,
Well,
okay.
Yeah.
So he attacks them,
yeah.
but he can also become go underground, become small and go underground, and his tentacles will come through the ground and just eat everything.
Like a plant, he's making himself roots that are attacking the base. He's a giant plant.
Yeah. And they go through a whole entire fight scene of just the tentacles grabbing up all of the, what are you calling them? Scientists?
No, the soldiers.
The soldiers. And they're trying to fight this thing. And then,
They're just fighting. By the way, they're fighting the root by shooting it.
yeah, they're shooting it. And
it's very suspect. If you watch closely, they're shooting each other in the head. But
they clearly
yeah.
are. They clearly are. But like the roots are everywhere, and it's just kind of like obliterating the whole group.
It's destroying Science Central.
Yeah, for sure. The whole place is like on fire. It's a freaking hot mess. And that is when
It actually turns off the power.
it does turn off the power, but there's this one brave guy who, hits the intercom and says to the doctor, he says, "Dr. Chang, we're under attack." And Dr. Chang says, "Hit the power."
Yeah, because remember, when he's calling him, they have no power.
That's right. They
But
have no
he's
power.
able to call
But it's
him.
able to call him. So while he's getting attacked and he's getting, the freaking tree monster or whatever is like pulling his leg and trying to like get him to come, get him, like throwing him around, he actually manages to pull a panel open in the floor and hit the power. At which point our hero is activated.
Well, we have to point out, though, because the scientist says to this guy, hey, turn the power back on because Rima might die. Now, meanwhile, everyone else is getting just destroyed.
Yeah, well, he only cares about Rima because
Rima.
he's the freaking, what do you call him? He's like the hero.
He's the hero,
the
yeah.
protagonist, and he's going to be Infra-man.
Yep. And that's what exactly happens. The power comes back on. Rima is able to finalize his transformation. The most unexplainable thing happens here. It turns out that Rima's power as Infra-man is that he can grow his suit. At will.
He's naked, and then when the power gets flipped, he automatically gets this red suit and a helmet, and it just
And shoulder pads.
Like it's unbelievable this outfit. He looks like a bug. It's funny, but he's, I mean, super futuristic, you know?
And you can tell he's extremely powerful
You could
because
tell,
that's
yeah.
he starts kicking the room apart. But it's
Yes.
clearly PVC pipe that's
Oh
supposed to be
my
metal
goodness.
piping. He's kicking PVC pipe to show his strength.
It's a bit extra, but we have to know that he's powerful, so he has to do that shit. So all of a sudden, he's just ready to go. He's ready to fight. Now, I asked you this question because yeah, he goes in, he starts fighting the tentacle monster, but I don't understand, like, what is the difference between Infra-man and Rima? Because Rima is a good martial artist as it was.
Yes.
So when he puts on the suit or he changes into, Infra-man or whatever,
Yeah.
he's still doing the same shit that he did when he was not wearing.
But did Rima ever do backflips to the extent in the air that he can fly his boots into anybody? Because I don't think he could do that.
Well, he
beforehand.
didn't have the boots before, and the boots
Yes.
can like fire shoots out of the boots, and like they're like rocket boots.
Yeah.
So now he has those.
I will say that the power of Inframan is whatever the hell the writers could think of at the moment. That's it. This is the Superman of the 50s where they were just like, what character? What can he do? Everything.
He can literally
If you can
do
think
everything.
of it, Rima can do it now.
And then they keep repeatedly showing this shot of him doing the flip in the air and flying.
How many times do you think?
I'm gonna say that happened a total of 15 times in this movie.
How many times do you think he backflips or flips?
I'm gonna say I can count maybe, I don't know, 20?
I counted 59 flips.
Really? I'm way under.
If you're ready for a drinking game,
You were counting?
I was counting. If you're ready
Oh,
for a
shit.
drinking game, this is the drinking game for this movie.
But it's the same
Drink every
shot.
time there's a flip
It's like literally recycled.
from Inframan.
It's recycled every time though.
Oh,
like
every
they're
single
just
thing.
recycling the freaking shot over and over.
His first appearance, because basically they're under attack, and so he says, Rima, go fight them as Inframan. Go save everybody. You can see through walls. And he goes, oh yeah, I can see through the wall, and I know they're all being attacked. I know how to use everything instantly.
Yeah.
No learning curve.
No.
Now I'm going to open. Now, but this is great. They're on the ground. He opens up a skylight. And Inframan is able to fly out, and every time he flies up into the air, that's when he does his flips. He does, I think every time is a series of 4 flips over and over and over until he can fly.
Until
and then
he flies,
It's,
yeah.
it's some reason these flips are necessary for him to get into flying position.
Yeah, it's weird, but like, why do you need to? Yeah, he flips for no reason. But the best part is like, why do you feel the need to like recycle this shot? Like, can't you do something else? Like, make him do something else? Like, it just looks so ridiculous.
And I just, it adds to the charm. It adds to the
if you say
insane
so,
charm.
I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous over and over and over, the same thing. But yeah, so
He goes and fights the plant monster, and Verge. And by the way, when he jumps up into the air and does his flips, not only does every single other person in his squad, they all instantly go, Inframan.
okay.
And also,
I did say something to you about that.
we see 2 kids and a woman on the beach, and they look up and they say, Inframan.
That's Inframan, the Inframan.
Infra-man! He's here!
Well, that gets explained.
Even if it gets explained, why do they all know?
Well, first of all, this is his first appearance to anyone.
Yes.
So nobody would know who Inframan is. They're treating him like a national treasure already.
Yeah. Is the boss, is he telling everybody who works with them that that's his goal?
I mean, it's so bizarre. Like, how long has he been planning this? Because it seemed like if he was planning it for a long time to make Inframan, it only took 34 seconds for Inframan to be born.
Yeah, and not only that, you think there would be some like other tests in the past, but
Yeah.
but was he prepared for a Princess Dragon Mom attack scenario?
I mean, I'm guessing he was being prepared for something.
Wow.
And so he was going to build this hero to save the Earth or whatever if he needed to.
That's what he says too. He says
doesn't,
that.
yeah, but he didn't anticipate. Who could anticipate Princess Dragon Mom? I mean, nobody anticipates Princess Dragon Mom.
I have to point out too that the scientist says that these monsters that they're fighting predate the Ice Age.
That is true.
How does he know? Is there like a humanoid monster checklist that they have? Like, oh, we have the body from before the Ice Age of this plant monster.
I was going to ask you about that. Like, does Princess Dragon Mom ever say anything like that? She doesn't.
It's so weird too because maybe in the undubbed, the actual audio for this movie, do they make a little bit of sense from it? Because they constantly make references to them to being Ice Age villains or monsters.
I mean, you could just tell by looking at them. They don't look futuristic like the wardrobe would suggest or the technology would suggest.
I mean,
they don't look futuristic at all.
They don't look past either. They look like comical Spirit of Halloween, Spirit Halloween costumes.
I mean, you're right. And it's like literally the turd monster, he looks like a dinosaur turd. I mean, he doesn't look like a dinosaur. He doesn't look like a woolly mammoth. Any creature that we know from the Ice Age, it's just
or before the Ice Age.
I mean, he looks like he could be in that era. Like,
they're all humanoid.
It's so weird, but they're all wearing boots.
Yeah, it's so, and they can speak.
I can't believe I'm saying
they speak whatever language the movie needs them to speak too,
that's
which
correct.
It's wild. Yeah,
they do.
Well, anyways. Rima is Infra-man, is able to fight the broccoli monster, and he is able to kill him by seeing that he's hiding in a little part in his heart, so he attacks it because he has. Every time this movie needs you to know there's a power, we basically hear the boss scientist guy in his mind, because he's told, oh, and by the way, not only did you form a suit around your body somehow, but your suit also comes intact with throwable Chinese like bombs.
Yeah,
like they're like little darts.
They look like little darts.
They're on his chest. He is growing. Basically, he can never run out of ammo because his body just produces it.
Yes, and also it should be noted that the sun does play a part in his powers.
That doesn't come in here. That comes in later on, and that's another baffling thing that happens in this movie that's still really not explained. But we're told that he's a walking power plant.
He is.
So it shouldn't have anything to do with the sun whatsoever. So he is able to kill the plant monster. He's able to find the source of his power, cut it down, and they have a little fist fight. And by the way, every sound effect in this movie is that.
And
but
like the freaking fists never land, or the
it
kicks
never lands to
but you
the sound
still
effect.
Get that dreadful old spaghetti kung fu movie like punching sounds, and it just annoys the shit out of me.
And also the dubbing person, they had to do all the dubbing for the sound effects. They went overboard, especially for a quiet scene where you hear walking. You have to hear all of the tapping of the feet across this room. And they do it all over and over throughout this movie. It makes me laugh so hard. He kills the broccoli monster. But here's what I love. There was 2 monsters sent. The other monster, for some reason, doesn't help the broccoli monster. Instead, he attacks a car with one of the other soldiers in it by lifting it up in the air and taking the guy who's driving it hostage.
Yes. So this scene, I didn't understand this too much because
it doesn't make much sense.
I mean, why would he just take this one guy? Like, if you're going to brainwash someone to be on your side, why won't you take the lead scientist, Dr. Chang?
Yeah, and that's odd, is that this monster didn't join in that fight. He did something. He attacked this car off base.
Yeah,
and
it's weird.
It's clearly not Princess Dragon Mom's her goal for him. She didn't tell him the plan, go with this car, because the reaction is when they bring this guy in front of them, they're all like, now let's kill this guy. Because the guy wakes up. I can't remember this character's name. He's in a bunch of this opening of this movie. He's actually in it before Rima is.
Yeah, he's in it a lot.
He says himself, why did you take me prisoner? Why didn't you just kill me? And they're like, yeah, let's kill him. So the question isn't, like, so even the monsters don't know why he took him, right? And then Princess Dragonmon's like, no, don't kill him. I have another plan for him. So she had no idea that he was even going to be brought there.
Yeah, no idea. That wasn't like her whole diabolical plan to take a hostage.
Yeah. We're introduced now to Princess Dragonmon's sidekick, woman sidekick.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about her?
Okay, first of all, she's awesome. The way she looks, I love her outfit.
I can't remember her name. She has a funny name too.
Isn't it She-Devil?
Is it She-Devil?
I think it's She-Devil.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and she has the best outfit. She looks like she stepped out of like a 1980s Motley Crue video.
It's like Madonna fashion though. It's weird. She has like a cone gold bra.
Yeah.
And she has a huge skeleton belt buckle that is so clearly not well suited for her because it is squeezing her stomach so tight that her stomach is bulging out of it.
Yeah.
It's like pushing fat out of... She's not even a fat woman. It's just making her look like she has a muffin top.
Yeah, it wasn't a flattering costume at all, but I liked the way the costume... Like, I liked the look of the costume. Like, it wasn't flattering on her, but... I mean, anyone else...
I do not like this costume at all.
I mean, it looked uncomfortable, but it was a cool look. Like, I liked her helmet and everything.
No, her helmet's so bad. She has one spike, like a rhino.
Yeah, like a
but
rhino.
But a baby rhino. It's like only one little nub
cute.
sticking out of the top of her forehead.
It was a cute paper mache rhino hat. It was cute.
Now... She's a completely human-looking person, except she has giant, comical, fake hands that have giant fingers.
So these were clearly gloves. You could see,
it was
ridiculous. But they had eyeballs on the palms of her hands.
Yes.
So when she lifted up her hands, they shot out laser beams.
They shoot out laser beams because their idea is to hypnotize and brainwash this guy that they kidnapped. And the way that they do it is they sit him in a recliner and play with his brain. And then they say, okay, invade his receptors. There's some crazy shit. She says some funny shit, but then she goes, oh, now totally finish the job. And the only way to finish his job is this woman holds up her eye hands and they shoot laser beams into his eyes. Yeah, actually, one of them misses because you can see the thing goes off the screen by accident, not to his eyes.
It makes no sense at all. It's like they're just doing this just to add something extra for the kids.
It's wild, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna send him back now," and his mission is to infiltrate the base and kill Infra-man.
Yes, but why him? Like the whole point is like she has these monsters that could do the job just fine, but this is a normal man. He's just a regular man. So why would he? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and when he gets back, he's clearly not right. He's like gray, and his eyes are like circles on them, and everybody's like, "Where have you been? You were kidnapped by the monsters."
Yeah, he looks like a zombie, and I don't know if you were listening, but you can hear one of the guys in the background say, "What's going on with your eyes?"
Yes, yeah, and it is actually Rima. Instantly goes, did you see his face? You see his eyes? Something's wrong with him.
He definitely looks messed up.
Yeah.
And he's so now he's supposed to be infiltrating the base of operations at the Science Central, and he's clearly a bad guy, which, I mean, first of all, you take a look at him, you could just lock him right up because he just looks like something's not right.
Yeah, the head scientist agrees and says watch him closely. Although the guy is very behind on watching closely because by the time he catches up with him, he's already taken down a guard, broken into the science lab, and stolen all of the plans for Infra-man.
He stole the blueprints to make him.
And my favorite bit is that the one guy he knocked unconscious by staring into his eyes turn green, and they knock this guy out. It looks like it fries this guy's brain. But my favorite bit is that the guy who was told to watch him closely comes in and finds that guy laying on the floor, and the guy is still alive, and he just goes, he's over there. and doesn't get up to help. He just
was
lays
just
there and just
taking
points
a-
over.
he's
It's over
taking a
there.
siesta.
Yeah.
He had a long shoot the night before, so he figured that it was owed to him to just lie down on the floor.
Just keep on the floor. I mean, his face looked like it melted. I
It
can't
was
believe he's even
hysterical.
alive.
I was like, is he dead?
It's so
And then he's just like,
comically
"Yeah, he's over
okay.
there.
He's over there.
He's over there.
Go get him. So yeah, there's a chase because he goes for the run, and the guy who was sent to follow him chases him on his motorcycle, and he's led to an ambush. There is the spider monster was sent to guard him or collect this guy while he stole the blueprints, and he is also joined by his little skeleton gang.
I love those guys.
And this one dude, who isn't even the main character, is able to fight this entire group until Rima and the squad all shows up on their motorcycles to help out. This guy fights them for a while. He's actually only stopped when the spider finally has to use a power on him. He actually spits on him and puts him in a ball.
Yeah.
A webbed ball cage. And that's when Rima and everybody come in and they all fight. And Rima does a lot of the fighting without being Infra-man. But then...
That's what I'm saying. Like, he could have done this without being Infra-man. And, like, for 20 minutes solid, you're just, like, hearing... Psh, psh,
Yeah.
psh, psh.
And Rima... And the only reason Rima... And by the way, the guy got away with the blueprints. He's back at the base.
Mm-hmm.
But the spider's still fighting them off. And the only reason Rima has to turn to Super Infra-man is because the spider... last attempt to fight and kill these guys decides to grow in size. And he grows to a gigantic size, like a kaiju, like an actual kaiju monster. And that Rima turns into Inframan and now also can grow in size and knows that he can do this.
I mean, this is some freaking next level shit right here. If he can grow that big,
Yeah.
why can't you just grow that big and then step on them all?
And
Like, why didn't you do that in the first place?
you think it'll come back? No, he never does it again.
No, he only does it once, but he does step on the villain. He does. And then, like, the green goo comes squishing out of
Yeah,
it.
like he stepped on a real bug.
Yeah, it was gross, but it...
He even sounds like the fly, which is a funny little touch.
The best thing is, like, literally, the movie could... I mean, I guess they couldn't do it because movie, but the movie could have been over in, like, 10 minutes because he could have just grown to that size. It's like, does he have to watch other villains do that thing before he can do that thing? Is he, like, adapting to that special power?
Yeah, and yeah, that's what it seems like.
Because he just does things out of the blue that are amazing that it seems like he always knew he could do, but why didn't you use that before?
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
And this is even better. The head scientist now tells him, "Hey, by the way, I haven't given you all the weapons that you could use to fight off the bad guys. In fact, I have one more. It's called Thunderball Fists." And he goes, "Huh? Thunderball? I can have such a thing?" And he says,
Thunderball?
"Yes, Thunderball Fists."
There are other weapons I haven't given you as yet. For success, it's essential you have Thunderball Fists.
I can have such a thing.
That's right. Thunderball Fist.
And sure as shit, he gives him these new gauntlet-like gloves that are super strong and punch. That he said he can break anything with his gloves. In fact, they were able to make the strongest element of all time from Africa, which is made from diamond dust.
I had to ask you about that.
And heated in a reactor and turned into this circular, item. Looks like a bowling ball. And he says, "Now break it." And his Thunderball fists are able to break the most unbreakable element ever.
It's amazing.
African dust, diamond dust.
So-
whatever the hell's going on here.
And yet again, this is a power
Yeah.
that goes nowhere.
And it does. And then he goes, "You are unstoppable now." Oh, by the way, these also have Thunderball discs that can shoot out and cut anything.
Yes, which goes nowhere too, because he does not take out a single villain with these.
He definitely does. And
I
it's
don't
in the end.
remember that.
You should remember because it's the craziest ending ever.
Aren't the fists supposed to be like coming off of his arm?
That he uses that.
Okay, I didn't see that happen.
Yeah, and here's really funny. He goes, by the way, your Thunderbolt fists are solar paneled, and they are powered by the sun. Okay, now that's very confusing, right? Because he's already powered by a reactor. Why does he also need to be powered? Have gloves?
Yeah, he's
and
already
also,
nuclear.
his suit is basically a part of him, and it comes out of him. So what you're telling me is that when he can become Super Infra-man, he somehow has to pull out gloves now? Because where are the gloves going to? In his back pocket?
I mean, it seems like they're always on because they have spikes on them.
No, my point is that the Infra-man he's like a wolf man.
Yeah.
So he turns into Infra-man when he needs to.
Right.
It comes out of him. The suit is actually a part of his body.
Yeah, he does like a little mantra.
But
and
the
like,
Thunderbolt fists are not.
That's true.
He would have to put them in his back pocket every time he turns back into Rima.
That's like an added appendage.
It's like something he has to carry around now.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't that be a part of the Like, if he put him back under and said, I'm going to add more stuff to you.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's really odd.
I mean,
it's just like, here, put these Thunderbolt fists on.
Yeah, he doesn't have any pockets in that suit. So where is he keeping that?
Where's he keeping these?
That's amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so that's baffling. But it's also powered by the sun. Well, that is why the guy stole the blueprints and still has the Thunderbolt fist blueprints. And so Princess Dragonmon, now let's just remember this. Princess Dragonmon Mom is in a castle that was underneath a mountain, a volcanic mountain.
Mount Devil.
Mount Devil that has technology.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has been, they said it's 100 years or longer.
It's weird. That volcano has been dead for 1,000 years.
That it hasn't been touched. And she has video screens, cameras, digital beaming equipment, things that can change people's minds. She has all these abilities in this base. I don't understand this at all. She also has a squadron of boats.
Yes, and she has this awesome dragon fountain.
She has a dragon fountain.
Where is the water coming from?
Dr. Evil's trap door to a volcanic pit.
Oh my god!
It's so weird.
Outstanding.
Well, they are able to put the Thunderbolt fists that she sees it on screen. She goes, "Wait, stop on those Thunderbolt fists." And then she's like, "Oh, stop, enhance." And she goes, "Ah, I found a weakness in his gloves, in his gauntlet. They're solar paneled, and I can block out the sun. We can make him weak."
This is the most ridiculous plotline I have ever seen.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lick of sense.
Okay, so she releases.
She doesn't even do that now. She does it later.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
Virtually what happens in the movie is they keep sending the villains out to attack them.
Yeah, it's this ongoing like. Psh, psh, psh.
Yeah, she actually sends Booger Man, and she sends the guy who's under their control to go put dynamite underneath the science base and blow it up.
Oh my god, that's right. That's right.
While this is happening, it turns out the scientist, his daughter is the one that was on the beach with the two kids, and they're the ones that said, Infra-man, his daughter, and these are also his two kids. Their mothers passed on.
Mm-hmm.
And they're on the beach, and they're basically the little girl's like, "Oh, Dad showed us the plans to Infra-man. You think I can be Infra-girl one day? I want to be Infra-girl."
Which I feel like, are they setting something up here? Because that'd be awesome.
I guess. It's so weird. The scene is so out of nowhere. It comes out of nowhere. It's like just an added bonus of characters all of a sudden. Basically, it's like telling you, oh, it's very hard to be Infra-man. You have to go through so much. They actually slowly pan on the daughter's face as she's looking off, thinking about the pain that Rima went through.
How does she even know?
I don't know. She wasn't there for any of it. Well, they are on the beach and they see that there's a cave, and they go to the cave. And they're like, let's go in this cave.
This is the most pointless scene of all time.
It turns out that the cave leads to the underground passageway that the monster and this guy are going to put the dynamite to blow up the base.
Yeah, so what happens next, can you imagine? The kids get taken hostage.
Shiloh, come out of there. It's dangerous.
Come in here. This is the transformer room. When we blow it up, science headquarters will be powerless. Get the charge ready.
It's,
Yeah, they actually kidnapped the two kids, and
the little girl gets away.
they kidnapped the little boy, and then the daughter, the older daughter, goes, "Where are you?" And she goes in there and she goes, "Oh, are you tied up?" She finds it, right. She goes,
That
"You
was
got
the
tied up."
stupidest scene I have ever seen in my
She
life.
doesn't freak out. She's just like,
she's oh, you're tied
nonchalant.
up.
Oh, you're tied up.
Oh, okay, you're tied up.
And then they can't kidnap her, and so they also put the dynamite in there, and they set it on fire. The little girl just walks off, and she's like, "No one wants to play with me." She runs into Rima, and she says, "Oh," he's like, "Where's your sister and your brother?" "Oh, no one wants to play with me. I'm depressed." And they're like, "They went in this cave." And he's like, "They just left you? That's not like them." And she's like, "Yeah, they're not back yet." He's like, "I gotta go check this out." So he runs in there, and he sees the dynamite, and he's able to free them being tied up, or the one kid anyway. Oh no, they tie on both of them, untie them, and then he flies up in the air with the dynamite and throws it away.
Yeah, which, that happens.
Naturally, the bad guy, now the possessed guy and the turd monster that put the dynamite and failed here, now just suddenly drill into the base, and they could have just killed everybody in the base.
They could have just killed everybody so many times, but they're just taking their time, fucking around.
Yeah, they perfectly drill into the base and kidnap the daughter.
Oh my god.
This guy's daughter. I don't even know why. They could just kill people. They could put a dynamite inside this hole. Instead they kidnap the daughter and hold her hostage.
Yes, and we know why, because obviously they want her father, Dr. Chang, to come to the base and rescue her and kind of join. Princess Dragon Mom wants him to join her side and wants to enslave him.
Because she wants him to build a new Infra-man for her.
Yes, but here's the thing. This woman can seriously materialize out of nowhere. She has technology out the wazoo. You're telling me that just by looking at blueprints you can't make your own Infra-man? Like, she's supposed to be amazing. What the hell? Why does she need Dr. Chang for?
It's baffling. It's so weird.
So she takes a daughter to lure Dr. Chang there to do that for her, which is pointless as hell. But we need it because movie.
And also on camera, they kill the guy that they possessed. Yeah, they dropped him into the fire pit just to show that they can do anything.
Yeah, just look, I'm going to show you that I'm going to kill this guy and what I'll do to everybody else if you don't obey me. And then she puts him in like cryostasis.
Well, the father actually does leave, and she's like, no one else is allowed to come.
Right.
And so he does go, and it was a really great scene where they have him on a jet boat right between one of the skeleton guards and the poop monster, the booger.
It looked like something from Batman 1966.
It just looks so funny. They're playing music like, it's the most hilarious shot in a movie. It
was goofy. It was really goofy, but they had to, take the boat to the lair, and so then Dragon Mom puts Chang and his daughter in cryostasis.
It says she's going to wake them up every year, unfreeze them, and then freeze them again until they can't take it anymore, until he makes her an Infra-man.
Okay, but that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
because to wake them up once a year, and
she says every day I'm going to wake you up and freeze you again over and over and over until you're insane.
Did you say every day?
I don't. She said a lot. She said a lot. I'm going to do it over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's more torturous than once a year. But either way, so, he has no plans to make her a freaking Infra-man at all.
Yeah. Well, on the side, she sends the other villains to go kill everybody.
Which they
while
fail
the guard is being... So they also don't come and help him. So they send the penis monster... They send the green booger. And also what I call the pirate penis. They come after. And also, he does fight the witch character. The hairball.
Yes.
He easily kills these characters.
Another Scooby-Doo villain.
He kills them so easy. The hairball character, he just keeps knocking her over, and then my favorite is she actually gets him. She hits Infra-man into the water, and then he's like knocked into the water and like maybe beaten, and then she looks at the water and she actually cries a little bit.
Yeah.
She goes,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then
that
he
was
comes
funny.
out and he friggin' throws her into the water. Like, and by the way, when I say throw, it in this movie, every time they shoot somebody or blast somebody, they do a backflip.
Oh, they have to.
Yeah.
They have to do backflips.
She backflips into the water, and then he shoots basically like a bazooka at her, and she just explodes.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Then he slowly takes out all the other villains. He kills the booger dude. After a long fight, and it's easy too. It's not even a big deal. He's supposed to be the best of the bunch.
No,
And
it was very
also
easy.
the penis pirate, he kills him by blowing him up as well. They all like kind of burn. We watch them all burn.
Yeah, it was kind of fun.
I love Rima at first. Before he beats the booger dude, he drives a motorcycle into him.
Yeah, just I gotta tell you though, I feel like maybe they hurt that actor because it seemed like
Oh, it's great.
he
It's
went
crazy.
flying, and
Yeah.
even though he's wearing like a rubber suit, he's still. It looked like it hurt.
There's
Just did.
explosions and fireballs and stuff in this movie that seem like everybody's in jeopardy.
Yeah, there are people on fire in this movie.
Oh, there are some wild stuff, and
crazy.
you know it's a time where the stunt actors were getting hurt terribly.
Oh, for
So,
sure. Yeah.
yeah.
For sure.
And not even the stunt. It seems like the actors are getting hurt.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rima finally is able to get to Monster Island, or I'm sorry, Mount Devil, or whatever it is, to go save everybody. And all the squad get there. They all go in the boats. They all get there. This is the big like fight, the big showdown.
Big showdown.
And he goes in the base and he has to fight like all the characters one by one. He fights the woman with the hands, the eyeball hands.
Oh my god! But her death scene's pretty cool though because like
He uses those discs that you said. Yeah.
That's when he uses the discs. I
He
forgot
cuts her
that.
hands off.
I feel like he was just using those eyeball lasers that he had, but no, he was using the discs, and he cut her hands off, and she just went right down that freaking pit into the burning hot magma.
Yeah, after he cuts her hands off, he like chucks her in the damn lava.
That was pretty brutal. I was like, wow, okay.
And then he slowly goes into each room until he can save everybody. And he goes in the room to unfreeze. And by the way, they freeze him, and then he gets a little inspiration in his head where he says, "Oh, hey, by the way, you can unfreeze yourself. You can heat your body and unfreeze yourself."
So it seems like Dr. Chang telepathically came to him when he was like down for the count.
Yeah, he's got some kind of beeping thing that I don't remember ever seeing on his head
It
before
was
this
there.
scene.
Yeah, no, it was there. I was going to ask you, is there like a light bulb there for some reason? But yeah, it is like some
That's
telepathic link that he had to Dr. Chang, and Dr. Chang was all like, "Oh, you can unfreeze yourself.
Yeah.
You have the ability." So he does. It was pretty amazing to me simply because how does he have? I mean, he could do literally anything.
Yeah.
He has telepathic abilities now.
He can do anything.
But only with Dr. Chang, because if he had telepathic abilities at all, he would know Princess Dragon Mom's next move. But he
Yeah,
doesn't.
I mean, yeah, it's true. He's able to see through the wall, though, and find them frozen. So he goes in the room to unfreeze them, but before he can, he has to fight the robot Slinky Men.
Which is your favorite?
I love this scene. It just makes me laugh. It's like Egon in Ghostbusters 2 when he says, "I had a Slinky once, but I straightened it." Because these two robot characters, both their hands and their heads are attached to slinkies.
So they pop off and they're being used as weapons, but this is literally the worst weapon of all time. Like
It's
anyone
so funny looking.
can grab their body parts that they're popping off and just tie them or
That's what he
pull
does.
them or straighten them or whatever. Like it's the stupidest villains I've ever seen.
One of them he hits so hard that he lands. First off, he hits one of them so hard that he keeps bouncing off the floor back into his fist, and it happens over and over again. He just keeps punching it.
Yeah. But also another thing is they seem to work in unison, the like twin robots.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they didn't just band together, like, hold hands and then just run around Infra-man and like tie him up in the slinkies.
Well, that would
I mean,
maybe make them useless. I really don't know what
they're completely
how their
useless.
ability works. I love that he throws one of them on their head and he bounces back up and down like a pogo
Oh my
stick because
God,
he's
it
got
was
slinky.
bad. I can't.
Anyways, he every time they shoot at him, their hands, he takes them and wraps them together so basically they can't unravel themselves.
Yeah.
One scene is great because all these soldiers come in to fight him as well, and he throws one of their heads over a balcony like thing, and that the villain's like tied up there. He can't get his head out of the rafters, so he keeps like getting pulled back and forth like his slinky up and down into the thing. So if you're watching the fight, you can actually see this character struggling, jumping up, going up and down. It's so cool. I think it's so funny and silly that I love it. I love looking at it. But yeah, he is able to kill them. He kills all these guys with no problem. Is able to free the father and daughter, but not before Princess Dragonmon flies in as the dragon character and knock him over repeatedly until he's able to use his discs to cut her head off, and it just keeps growing back. And this happens 5 times. He just keeps cutting the head off, the head grows back, cutting the head off, growing back. Then finally he just gets sick of it and does his blast with his hands, destroys her until she keeps like flashing like a video game until she blows up.
That's kind of sad at that moment because I like Princess Dragonmon.
It's like he dispatches her so friggin' easy.
Yeah, she's supposed to be like the big
bad guy, and he like kicks her ass.
Is very quick.
And you actually feel like it's not true, like something else is going to happen.
Yeah.
But the place starts having an earthquake.
It starts crumbling.
And crumbling, so he's got to run out with them.
Yeah, with Dr. Chang and his daughter.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I told you how upset I was because they literally destroyed those set pieces. They were really fun set pieces.
Yeah.
One looked like a skeleton baby Yoda. It was hysterical. And they were huge skeletons. Like huge.
Yeah.
On this it looked like an island.
Yeah.
But they were just such great.
Yeah, it doesn't
set
look like
pieces.
a volcanic mountain of any. It doesn't look like a volcano.
It did not look like a volcano, but it was just so many amazing set pieces. I was like, oh dang, I know this is like paper mache and like cardboard or whatever, but still, it just looks so good, and I was so upset. At the destruction of those.
Yeah, it's a shame, but it looks cool. And if you watch the actors running out, it looks like their blasts are happening all over them. It's crazy stunt looking stuff.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But they get outside and they're like, "Yeah, we saved the day." Finn. Yeah, that's it. That's the movie.
The villain went down so easy, and I was like, but you know what though? This movie was so much fun to watch, and like I said, this is what I would say 9 or 10 times I've seen this movie. And
which is wild. I've made every friend watch this movie with me.
Yes.
That's probably why they don't like showing back up here anymore, because I've shown this movie to everybody. I'm scared them all off. I don't think anybody enjoys this movie as much as I do.
This is a nostalgia thing for you. I mean, this is like from your childhood. It's like me with the Muppets. I mean, they can't do any wrong. This movie can't do any wrong in your eyes. Like, you will always love this movie. It's just, you hold it very dear and high regard because it's something from, when you were a kid, you just thought this was just everything.
I guess so. I mean, I do like it like that, but I also can tell when it's not a great movie.
Of course.
But I will have to say that this is so silly fun.
It is. Watching this as an adult is a hoot.
It's just so fucking fun and dumb, and I don't know. I just love it. There's something so corny about it that it's to me, it's very hard to hate it. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess that should be a good lead into your segment, which is why we can't have nice things.
Okay, yeah. Why we can't have nice things. So what I'll do is I'll read one 10-star review and one 1-star review. And these are just I just will never understand these people. But here we go. This is a 10 out of 10. And the title of this one is A Real Trasher, but gives you the hell of a time watching it. A real collector's item. I got the original VHS tape and I won't miss it. The leading man is a human being transferred into a kind of mechanic superhero, the Infra-Superman. He has to fight the reanimated Princess Dragon Mom. A great movie with growing robots, a lot of karate fighting, villains that make you cry, not to say whether from fear or from laughter, zippers you can see on the back of the furry costumes, actors that are real over-actors, hard on the edge of being pantomime, and so on. Great entertainment, and the fun is, every minute of this movie was meant to be serious. If you ever get the chance to see this hard-to-find movie, do it, or you'll be sorry for a lifetime. So,
Okay.
yeah, I mean,
And that's a perfect
it's a
review.
perfect review. Now,
Yeah, it's insane. But,
that is insane. It's a bit extra.
this person has clearly one goal, and that's to pad the review score higher.
I think so too.
Yeah.
But since I could not find a 1-star review,
Oh,
I did find a 2-star review, so I'll read you
Okay.
that one. And that's titled Roger Ebert and I Like This Movie.
what a start.
Yeah. For years, I never told anyone that's in caps, anyone's in caps, I had even seen that movie. And I sure as hell never told anyone that I liked it. It was deserving of the title Cheesiest Movie of the Year and could well have been nominated for the all-time award. Yet, I had enjoyed it. It became my secret shame. Then, one day, months, perhaps years later, my favorite movie critic, with whom I agreed about 90% of the time,
Oh, wow.
did something that made my heart sing and my soul feel relieved. Roger Ebert listed it as a guilty pleasure. Of all the thousands of movies he had seen in his career, one of only 10 listed was Infra-man. This didn't prove my sanity, of course, but it did prove I was as sane as Roger Ebert, and I'll take that any day.
Wow.
Yep.
But he just hates it enough to give it a 2.
That's
I mean-
that's what baffles me.
Yeah, well, I guess also he finds shame in liking this film, which is kind of sad for him.
I mean, first of all, you should never find shame in liking anything. It's what you like.
Yeah.
It's something that you hold dear to, and that's not anyone else's business or
Yeah.
place to judge you.
Let me ask you this question, because I think this opens up an interesting question. Do you like the terminology guilty pleasure?
I do use that terminology. I do use that a lot because I do feel that there are guilty pleasures out there.
Yeah, but do you feel guilty really about liking something? Like, is there something that you really feel like, oh, I really don't want to admit that I love this
Hell
thing?
no, I'll admit that I like anything.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel weird using the term guilty pleasure because I have a hard time not admitting the things that I like. I know when I was a kid, guilty pleasure made more of a sense when I was a kid, when it was just not cool to like comic books and not cool to like Star Trek.
Right.
Or like Star Wars was always that okay thing. But there was that time where you didn't want to admit, oh, I really like comics. I really like cartoons.
Most of that was your teenage years when you were,
Yeah.
everyone judged
15 years
you.
old, you didn't want to admit damn
Yeah,
thing.
no, because people judged you and made you feel really small for liking certain things.
Yeah.
And as an adult, now we just don't give a fuck. If it's like you don't like what I like, well, that's okay.
Exactly.
I'm not. And then if you're gonna make fun of me for liking something, well, fuck you. You know.
That's exactly how I feel now because I'm like, I don't know if there's anything that I truly don't want to admit that I like. So I always find the guilty pleasure really interesting, especially what this guy's going through. This guy's saying like, I really find it it's a guilty pleasure. I hate it, and I hate that I like it, but I like it. That's a shame.
Yeah, it is.
That's a damn shame.
But there are people out there, like just for instance, like the movie Showgirls is deemed one of the worst movies ever made.
Mm-hmm.
But there are people who like that film. So,
But there's actual like The Room. They go to the theater and they dress up or they say certain things or they do certain things. Showgirls is one of those movies.
Really? They
It has
go to
its
like
own
midnight showings of this
yeah,
movie?
it has its own thing. It has a following.
Okay, I didn't
So
know that.
it's like Rocky Horror. It's just like people enjoy that movie and they do things around that event.
Yes, but that's not considered a guilty pleasure. Rocky Horror is considered a cult classic, and people love it.
But I'm saying that you're bringing up Showgirls, and that Showgirls is in that same vein as what you're saying, a cult classic.
Yeah, or like, I don't know, Battlefield Earth. There are one or two human beings out there that like that movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, you know, and you're not going to say, oh my God, you like that piece of shit and
Yeah.
make fun of them for it. No, that's not nice, number one. And, you know, people like what they like for their own reasons, and it's no one's concern or business. So I do understand the terminology guilty pleasure, because a lot of people don't want to admit, like, you know, they're kind of embarrassed to say that, oh, I really like that movie, or, you know, but I personally am not embarrassed of anything. I don't feel any kind of remorse for liking anything. I'm like, you know.
Well, this is a good segue then, because do you like this movie?
I absolutely love this movie.
So you admit with no problem that you enjoy this film?
100%. This movie is, I mean, okay, it's cheesy as hell. It's corny. It's just corny. You know, but this is the kind of stuff that you saw as a kid on TV and you were just mesmerized by. As an adult now, I have kind of found a new appreciation for this kind of movie, because I love watching trashy movies. I love watching bad movies. I love watching silly movies. And this is it's so bad, it's good in a way that it's so delightful that you really, you laugh at it, you know, you're entertained by it, and you can't really cut it up because they know what they were going for. I don't in any way, shape, or form think they took this seriously, as that guy in the review said.
I don't think so either.
This is not a movie you take seriously when you have literally a guy dressed as a booger. Yeah. You just don't. You don't take that seriously. This is not... I mean, the character's name is Princess Dragon Mom.
Yeah, did you know in the original name for her?
No.
We didn't get to talk about this. Her name was Princess Elzebub.
Oh my goodness. Well, Princess Dragon Mom is much better. But like, honestly, like, do you really think the filmmakers were thinking this is going to be a serious movie? No, they watch Godzilla movies. They watched, you know, just the silliness of Star Trek in 1966, you know, with the freaking guys in suits and stuff. Like, this movie came out in 1974, so they could do better than the costumes that they had in this movie.
I guess you're right.
I mean, they're fighting and the goddamn guy's zipper is open. You could see his white t-shirt under there. This is not a movie that they're taking seriously, okay? This is fun. This is a fun movie.
So in the opening you said this is talking trash, but we're not actually doing talking trash. What would you give this movie?
I would give this movie a friggin' 6. I think this movie's fun.
Yeah, I give it a 6 too. It's exactly what it you can't fault a movie, because if a movie sets out to be Shakespeare, you know, if it sets out to be Citizen Kane and it doesn't succeed, it gets knocked down because it gets graded against what it was trying to do. This movie is doing exactly what it set out to do.
Yeah,
it tried to make a fun kids film, a fun adventure action crazy movie, and to capitalize on the success of Ultraman. And I think it nails it. I think it is corny. I think it knows all the things, but I think that's exactly what it wanted to be. And so I can't really fault it lower. And let's face facts, a 5 would be mediocre. Right. And a 5 is something that I probably don't want to watch again. And I do want to watch this movie again. I really enjoy laughing at this film. I really enjoy watching it. And there's a part of me that at one point in the movie, I actually just stopped laughing and I'm sitting there like this. Yeah, I want to watch Infra-man win.
Yeah, it was very engrossing. It's just it's so silly, but it's such a freaking good time. And I don't think that this movie is bad. It's not talking trash worthy, but because it's Turkey Fest,
it definitely is, because we have a lot of questions.
I mean, we do have a lot of questions, but it's not. I mean, honestly,
that's
really
why I put it for the Turkey
them?
Fest. Yeah,
you don't want to ask the questions because you just have such a good time. You don't want to take yourself out of this movie. And, you know, if you come by my home and you look at my personal DVD collection, you will see that I love crap. And I don't think that this movie is crap. I think it's fun. So, yeah, 6.
So we're giving it a 6. So it's not even worthy of us bashing it or putting it on the list of bad movies.
No.
But yeah, we're going to follow this movie up with another movie I think we're both going to agree with is on the same tier. Yeah. And that would be Alligator.
It lives 50 feet beneath the streets. It's 36 feet long. It weighs over 2,000 pounds. And it's about to break out. It could be anywhere.
There he is.
Ready to attack at any moment. At first, no one believed it. Now, no one will forget. Alligator.
A movie we both enjoy and love talking about.
I love Alligator so much that you actually purchased this DVD for me as a gift.
And I love that you only were introduced to this film not too long ago.
Right. You know, it's crazy because this is everything in a movie that I would want. And I was like shocked that I only recently saw this for the first time.
I think actually Halloween of a year ago, you know, not this year, but of a year ago, I wanted to put on a scary movie that you hadn't seen, and I said, "Have you ever seen The Alligator? Let's watch. I want to watch both of them again. I haven't seen them since I was a kid," and we did, and you were like, "I love this film."
I think that I just fell head over heels in love with this film. I don't even know why, really, but I just do.
So we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hoot.
So yeah, you know what, everybody, thank you for listening. As always, we super appreciate anybody who listens to the show. And I always say, hit us up with suggestions of movies that you think are the worst, or movies that you think are, that you love, that are bad, that you know are bad and you love. I love to talk about them. Always love suggestions. We'd love to hear from you. We are on Instagram at Just Another Movie Night and The Crafty Misfit for Joe. And see you next time. Have a good one.
Oh boy, now you may not believe this, and I'm not sure I do, but the film you just saw a coming attractions trailer for is one of Roger Ebert's favorite movies. Amazing. But I think it's pretty entertaining too. Now I can hear you asking, what's going on here? Have Ebert and Siskel gone bonkers? They're recommending trash. Well, that's not quite right. We're recommending on this show great trash, movies that we call guilty pleasures, movies that we're almost embarrassed to admit we love. And great trash, our guilty pleasures, is the topic we're going to be exploring this time on Sneak Previews Take 2, one of those special change of pace shows where Roger and I take a look at trends and issues in the movies. And this is Roger Ebert, film critic of the Chicago Sun-Times.
Across the aisle from me is Gene Siskel, film critic of the Chicago Tribune. Now, today's program is right out of left field. Gene and I are each going to pick 3 movies that we like, even if nobody else does. Now, you know the feeling. You go to the movies with a bunch of people, and afterwards everybody agrees about how totally lousy the movie was, and gee, you don't know, you kind of liked it. What we're going to do is look at scenes from some of our own secret favorites. Okay, now this is what we call a change of subject. This is a movie for the kids, and this is it's a Hong Kong science fiction thriller dubbed into English and named Infra-man, and I discovered it at a kiddie matinee 3 years ago. And I go to a lot of kiddie matinees, by the way. It only took about 5 minutes of this movie to convince me that I was in the presence of a weird, curiously demented, but totally wonderful combination of science fiction, kung fu, and absurd superheroes. Believe me, Infra-man makes Superman look like a slice of life. I was drawn to it because they're the kind of ads I've never been able to resist. Those ads that say, see this and see that. See the impending destruction of planet Earth by mutant monsters led by the evil villainess, and now get this, I love her name, Princess Dragon Mom. And now, here is Princess Mom in her subterranean headquarters ordering her monsters into action.
Come, my creatures. I summon all of you to attend.
You might call this film action-packed. Now, I was there on the kiddie matinee. I loved it. And the kids loved it too, as a matter of fact. Infra-man was produced by Hong Kong's leading sultans of schlock, two brothers named Run Run Shaw and Run Me Shaw, and this time they really outran themselves. The special effects are outrageous. The plot is an unbelievable combination of low camp and high comedy. I loved it. I seriously think the movie has a future as a midnight cult classic.
I'm sure you're right. What I like about that sequence is that this film doesn't do what most action pictures do that's wrong. Most action pictures feel some need to interrupt themselves and try and get serious and have dialogue passages with the character. Hey, when we go to a picture like that, we don't want to know who the people are. We want thrills. We want action, sparks, flames, people jumping. There you had everything in that sequence, enough for 2 pictures.
That's why Infra-man is so great. There's a scene in there, for example, the big dialogue scene. They hardly talk at all. The professor has left science headquarters. He has gone to talk to the United Nations. Things are bad. Mountains have fallen apart to reveal the forms of extinct dinosaurs that are going to attack us. The San Andreas Fault has gone around the earth and opened up. School buses full of kids have fallen in. Hong Kong is in flames. Princess Dragon Mom has unleashed the mutant men upon humanity, and the professor says, "Gentlemen, things are so bad, they are the worst they ever have been."
I think you sold a few thousand tickets to that movie.
Infra-man was the outrageous Hong Kong science fiction extravaganza with a bionic superhero doing battle with the unforgettable Princess Dragon Mom.
Well, okay. You know, we call this show Guilty Pleasures because the movies we've recommended here are not generally thought of as the kind of classy, marvelous films that film critics typically praise. So that's why the phrase Guilty Pleasure, which was originated, as you know, by Film Comment magazine, which regularly features the guilty pleasures of all different kinds of critics. But in reality, you know, I'm not so sure that we really feel guilty about these films we've been talking about. They might be schlocky to some people, they might be scandalous to others, psychopathic to others, to the casual observer, that is. But to us, I think these movies, I think we really believe this, they have genuine merit.
Yeah, I think we're touching here on the kind of experience that a lot of moviegoers have, where they go to a movie and everybody else is laughing at it or walking out on it, and you're sitting there and you're saying, hey, wait a minute, I like it. There's something in this movie that speaks to me or that I see in it. And that kind of individual pleasure is one of the good reasons to go to a movie, I think.
I agree.
And that's it for this show.